Welcome to the WrestleTalk News, I'm Pete Quinnell, and this video is brought to you by Shopify. Today's top story. On WWE.com, there are official renders of every single wrestler, backstage interviewer, manager, commentator, and everybody else on screen too. And there's a mistake with one of them. When looking for Rhea Ripley, you may find Rhea along with Big Rhea Ripley. Please allow me to make some jokes about it. This is my duality! Don't talk to me or my mammy ever again. More like Rhea Bigley, that's Rhea Pete Ripley. And of course, I'm seeing double here for Ripleys. That's all I got for now. Leave your best jokes in the comments below. Our other top story today, I can call everything a top story, right? It's like WWE calling everything a main event, is that there may be a big return coming very soon to WWE. It's Money in the Bank, just over a week away. I'm very excited for both the show and our sold-out watch party, and while the card itself looks pretty stacked and exciting, there may be a big surprise lined up for the show. This comes from BWE on Twitter, who are claiming that there could be a big return happening at the show. So then the question becomes, who is it? If it's in front of the UK crowd, your mind instantly goes to somebody like a Drew McIntyre, or it could be somebody that's been out for longer, maybe someone like a Randy Orton, or maybe after the tag team match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are celebrating and they get interrupted by, "It's a new day, yes it is!" and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods come out, and then you think it's just those two, but then Big E comes out as well? I'd like that, but it could also be KSI in a prime bottle. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the comments. On the subject of Money in the Bank, everyone's very curious about the winners of the ladder matches. Yeah, because I think fans might want certain people to win. Yeah, and maybe have some other people definitely not win. No, well, potential spoilers ahead. Maybe because we've got the current betting odds for the winners of the ladder matches, and it looks like the favorites are still Io Sky and LA Knight. Yeah. Take this with a pinch of salt though, because betting odds are accurate sometimes and very wrong other times. BWE on Twitter did add to this though, noting that Logan Paul's inclusion into the match on Raw was a way to sow some seeds of doubt among viewers to distract from Knight's eventual win. Supposedly. I'll believe it when I see it. We've got news stories about what happened with Vince McMahon changing the first part of Raw shortly, but first, we have a message from this video's sponsor with a very exciting announcement from everyone's second favorite Turbo Jack.
I made his wrestler Turbo Jack, and if you're anything like me, which is probably not very much because of these, you've always got great business ideas. Turbo Jack ain't just broad, he got brains too. Like this, the Turbo Man. Is your regular cassette player just not enough? Then you need to take it Turbo, where you can listen to two cassettes at the same time. Because who doesn't like playing two banging tunes at the same time while you're pumping iron? Stop. In the name of Love Shack. La la Love Shack! That's why I'm kickstarting my Turbo Man business right with Shopify. Shopify is an all-in-one commerce platform for anyone to start and grow their business by selling online, in person, and across all major social media platforms. If you've got a business idea, Shopify helps you get started. They've got all sorts of tools for new merchants, like their business name generator that can help you find a name for your new business. That's how I found Turbo Man, an easy-to-use selling options like their affordable starter plan that gives you everything you need to get to selling quickly. And if you've ever used WrestleTalk's WrestleShop website, they run it using Shopify, so they can say from experience that it's a great service. And you can get yourself a free trial for Shopify by clicking the link in the description or by going to shopify.com/WrestleTalk. Right now, you've got a business idea? Get it started today with Shopify.
Thank you, Turbo Jack. Looking forward to your flawless business idea taking off. It was reported yesterday that Vince McMahon had made drastic changes to Raw. Everybody panic! He reportedly changed up the first 30 minutes of Raw, and instead of getting an open challenge from Seth Rollins, we instead got a beatdown angle with Finn Balor, which was reportedly done to heat up Finn Balor ahead of his match with Seth at Money in the Bank. This was changed last minute, according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, who added, "To be fair, I know people who were there who told me, look, as far as the 30 minutes that Vince put in, it was better than the 30 minutes that was taken out." And I hope it was. So I wonder, what was the original plan before Vince got his hands on it? Considering that this led to The Miz coming down and offering his own challenge that was answered by a returning Tommaso Ciampa, could it have been that Ciampa was supposed to return to challenge Rollins and that's what got pulled? Because I think that would have been kinda neat. There was also one notable Cleveland boy absent from the show, that being Johnny Gargano, but Fightful Select is reporting that no, he wasn't originally supposed to be the challenger for Seth's Open Challenge either. So what was scrapped? We'll never know, unless we find out, then we will. Now, you may have noticed throughout this year that WWE have been announcing their premium live events a little later than they normally do, sometimes only a couple of months in advance. In just the past week, we got the announcements of both Payback on September 3rd and Fastlane returning on October 7th. Fastlane in October. What is this? Bizarro land? There is reportedly some actual strategy to this, and it's not just WWE being lazy or doing last-minute booking. As according to Fightful Select, WWE have been trying to maximize buzz around their PLEs, which they give an example of, as each of the shows have fit into the categories of stadium shows, such as WrestleMania, international shows, such as Backlash, Night of Champions, or Money in the Bank, or directly correlated to storylines, such as Elimination Chamber, specifically in Montreal. WWE reportedly told Fightful that they're trying to be more strategic with their PLE announcements, and that economic storyline audience growth are all weighed when making these decisions. In addition, they also reportedly said that announcing each show individually allows each show to have its own moment, and Fightful reports that WWE sources are very happy with how things have played out on PLE shows this year, and I have to say, it's been one hell of a year for PLEs in WWE so far. Royal Rumble? Great. Elimination Chamber? Great. WrestleMania Night 1? Perfect. WrestleMania Night 2? Would have been great, but you know, the end. Backlash? Great. Night of Champions? Great. With the lineup of Money in the Bank looking to be great again, and with potential major matches coming soon involving the Bloodline, I think we could be on course to have one of WWE's best years for PLEs ever, and that's kinda wild. Moving over to AEW now briefly, and it had previously been reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Syres had been absent from AEW tapings for undisclosed reasons, since her mixed tag match teaming with Chris Jericho against Adam Cole and Britt Baker. However, we now have an update on that front, as Fightful Select is reporting that Syres is due back in AEW imminently, while confirming that she hasn't been at any tapings recently. Whatever she's been absent for, I hope she's had some good time off. Now, with AEW expanding its broadcast output with Collision, there no doubt needs to be some creative help for Tony Khan. He can't book Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, Ring of Honor, and all of his own announcements about his announcements all the time. And among the reports of Will Washington and Bryan Danielson helping out backstage in that capacity, there's one more person in AEW who's chomping at the bit to help out creatively: Jake Roberts. Roberts has already been helping out backstage in a coach-producer role, but on the latest episode of The Snake Pit, it seems he wants to help book shows, saying, "Just give me 15 minutes a show. Let me put something together. I know that I can help. I'm begging for that job." And now it's time for my NXT 1 minute, 1 take, where I will attempt to recount everything that happened on last night's episode of NXT Gold Rush in 1 minute and in 1 take. Start the timer. Wesley defended his belt over Tyler Bate with Mustafa Ali's special guest refereeing, causing shenanigans in the match where everybody was confused. Thea Hale had a pep rally in the ring ahead of her title match against Tiffany Stratton, which was interrupted by the aforementioned Stratton, who scoffed at the idea of being her submitted, so Hale locked in a Kimura that Stratton tapped to. Fun stuff. Idris Enefe and Malik Blade, I've lost my place, became number 1 contenders to Gallus next week by beating Hank Walker and Tack Ledger and Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. I hate these names. Why is it so slow? Why have you stopped being quick? Damon Kemp informs Eddie Thorpe that they're going to have a Raw Underground match at NXT in 2 weeks. Alright, where's Shane? How's he managed to book this show? They were joined later by famously drafted Raw star Gable Steveson, who said he can train Thorpe. Backstage Roxanne Perez beat up Blair Davenport, and Seth Rollins put over Nathan Frazer and Carmelo Hayes. Cora Jade defeated Dana Brooke because Brooke still can't buy a win, and Von Wagner then shared a really heartfelt and emotional story when he was a baby and required surgery. His skull was fused prematurely. It was actually really touching, and why are you making me care about Von Wagner? Carmelo Hayes and Baron Corbin had a long promo segment. Oh dear. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legends, God, I hate these names, defeated Valentina Feroz and Yulisa Leon, and Seth Rollins beat Bron Breakker in the main event and was then attacked by Finn Balor. That wasn't a minute, was it? Cock. Now check out yesterday's news, including Luke's review of Raw. Here's a clip.
This week's show, none of which were major, but his biggest change was the opening of Raw, which apparently was very different. And you can tell it was changed at the last minute because the pacing of the first 30 minutes or so of this week's Raw was, well, all over the place. But it did open